Welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. Woohoo! I just wow. I'm over here at Pyramid Lake, Paiute Reservation. We're having a healing workshop in the other room. So welcome to Native Wellness, Wellness Wednesday. Nistu Nidanako Makoyo Sakoyi. I'm your badass auntie, kind of shaggy a little bit. Anyway, welcome to Wellness Wednesday, where I wanted to just say that the subject is about healing today. August has been self-care. August has been how do we take care of ourselves in the summer months, getting ready for, to shift to the equinox on September 22nd. Nistu, I'm Scapi Picani. Lisa, what are you? I'm Scapi Picani. What are you? I'm Blackfeet. What are you? Oh, Blackfoot Confederacy. Anyway, I live in a beautiful place in the mountains on Lower St. Mary's in Montana. But I've been on the road for a bit, 8 days, 7 days, 8 days. And so welcome to Wellness Wednesday. We're on the Pyramid Lake Paiute Reservation at the community center. This is in the other room. We're having lunch. We have about 40 registered Paiutes. We have Washos. We have many of, I think some people, we even have some from Mohawk who came from the Mohawk Reservation. We have some from the Pine Ridge Reservation. So anyway, they're in there and they're just having lunch. So I just came today. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And I can't see you, but you're looking good. So let's just start. I just had an aha moment. Our group here, Native Wellness Institute, we often have we have these handouts called the Adverse Childhood Effects. And ACE score, sometimes people, I've taken this ACE score, it's 10 questions. And it's 10 questions that you either answer yes or no. And if you answer yes, then you get a score. So from 1 to 10, your ACE score can be 0 if you have no yeses, or it can be 10. You said yes to all of them. And so I just wanted to, because I just had an aha moment, and I think it has to do with being sober. It has to do with self-care, and it has to do with breaking the cycles. I was sitting in a group, and it's like talking circle style, and we were just in talking circle saying what our score was. My score was 7. So my score on the ACE score, Adverse Childhood Effects, is 7. But as I was answering it, like the first one is, did a parent or other adult in the household very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, humiliate you, or act in a way that made you afraid that you might be physically hurt? So I put a circle, but then I put, that was the alcoholism around me. That was my dad's alcoholism. So that's looking through a trauma lens. I now understood. And then as, my love for my father, since I was born, is still there. My love and self-care around the love between daughter and father is united. And so even though I answered yes to that, and this is when you answer these questions, it's from the time you were born till you're 18 years old in your life. And so it's a yes. So it was a yes, but I just thought that was because Dad had the disease of alcoholism. And then I have the disease of alcoholism. And my siblings all have the disease of alcoholism. So I just started, but we have not, we're breaking the cycle. And we're breaking the cycle by not succumbing to being the bad statistics of, what do they say? You either end up in prison, you end up in jail, you end up dead, or you end up mentally insane. Might be insane. Anyway, sometimes I got a little insanity, craziness going on, but I don't have those things. And so what does that mean, your ACE score? So I was just listening to an individual who she said the first time she took it, there was 100 questions, and maybe that was a different psychological, but she said this time she scored 2. And then she started getting teared up because she said the part that hurts her, because I had shared that it hurt me, my father's alcoholism and the behavior that he had hurt me as a child. It still hurts me now because I know it scarred us, all of the siblings, and I know it definitely scarred my mother, but I think she's healed from it. And so I just, we were just visiting, and others were saying their score, but it was that we're trust building. What can I share with this group? And so, welcome to Native Wellness Wednesday. I'm just visiting with you. It's very good. If you want to start to heal, a good place to start is to take the 10 questions, the ACE score, and see what your score is, and then to start to storytell. Because what I realized as we were sitting there is that it stimulated all these memories that I had not thought about. They're not in my periphery, they're not in my heart, they're not with me right now. And there was a 5-month-old baby right next to me that is the descendant of a very dear friend. And so I could just see this healthy baby. And as I was taking, I'd look over and it's just got a couple of teeth, and it would smile at me. And I said, is it okay if I take this test? And he would just smile and laugh, and he was squirming. And he looks like he's 9 months old because he's just plump. He's just a healthy Indian baby. And so I just, as I was taking it, it really made me conscious of the reason Native Wellness Institute and the reason we have these healing workshops is so that we can break the cycle, and that it's a safe place for babies to be born and babies to be raised. 5 months, year old, 2 years old. Oh, they're singing. They made a spirit plate. We got really good food, so they made a spirit plate in there. And anyway, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. They made a spirit plate, and we had a young person named Ari, and I've just met Ari, and I said, Ari, can you make the spirit plate? And she goes, but I've never made a spirit plate. I said, well, you're going to learn today. You're going to go and you're going to take like little people bites, a little piece of all of the food. Then you're going to get it ready. And then she brought it to me. I said, no, it's not to me. It's in your community here. You're going to have Billie Jean. You go over there and ask her how we should pray with this spirit plate. Because when you pray with it, you give your ancestors food. And Native Wellness Institute, we're, to keep the teachings of our ancestors alive. So often as you can, for self-care or with a group, make a spirit plate. And make some food for the ancestors, and then ask them to help. So he's singing a song, and he's head of the language, and I think he's on tribal council. Because he said his side job is he's on tribal council, but he's all into, and I can hear him singing. So I'm not going to take you in there and interrupt their process. I'm just going to stay. This is our safe room. We're calling it a safe room and a healing room, where you can come and there's smudge. Sometimes in the gathering of Native Americans, it's called the spirit room. But and I just decorated it. I was good at Badass Santiago, so I just put the flowers over here and decorated our safe room. And so I'm just enjoying because he's still singing in there. he's singing with his heart. He's inviting the ancestors to come in. And so we're on our lunch break. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I wanted to, I'm just so excited because that baby in there that was brought, that it's a young male baby, and it's 5 months old, and it's the descendant of Lana Hicks. And I just like, what? Woohoo! Oh my God! Because Lana left us a few years ago, and that was very hard, because in this area, Lana was one of the movers and shakers, like with Wanda Batchelor, Brian Wallace of Washoe Tribe. We had several, but Lana was the one that in 1988 had come to the University of Washington, Cecilia Fire Thunder, Clayton Small, and Billy Rogers at the time. And she said, we need a women in wellness gathering. We need to bring all the Native women together. And so that was how Native Wellness Institute started. Women in wellness, men in wellness, and now we have Two Spirit Wellness, where we just come together and heal. So I think having, and seeing this healthy baby, and then the mom, she said, you probably remember me. I was just little running around as a grandchild with Lana Hicks. So I said, oh, Creator, I just thank you, Creator, that I get to walk on our prayers, that I'm walking on our prayers, and I get to see, even though Lana isn't here, I get to see her granddaughter and her great-great-grandchild, and in a healthy atmosphere, because he was just feeling who we are. And I did invite, we might have some guests. I said, if you guys want to share some of your healing story, please come on in. And so if the door opens, we're just going to have them sit down here and share with you. So I want to, yesterday, when I came here, what I've learned with self-care is in between events, because I just came from the 29th annual Montana Two Spirit gathering on Flathead Lake. And boy, was that a self-healing, but a greater healing, with about 100 Two Spirit individuals and allies, allies who live with the Two Spirit, who are a parent of a Two Spirit, are just allies so that Two Spirits can be safe to heal. So I always like to take a couple of days where I don't do much around. So you don't do work. And so when I flew in here, I decided to rent a convertible. This is like, I thought part of my self-care is, it was an Expedia package with the airline, and it wasn't much. And so I pressed the button. And so when I arrived, I flew in, I'd got up at 3 a.m. in the morning, but I went to bed like 7:30. So when I have to get up at 3 a.m. in self-care, you go to bed early. And I have to say that good sleep, it's not good to run on a couple of sleep deprivation hours of sleep. You should. So when I got into the Reno airport, I flew in, everything just went great, flew through Salt Lake City, and I kind of got some naps on the plane. So when I got off, I felt refreshed. I'd just been at a 5-day healing, and I felt refreshed. And then so I got my luggage, and I go over to the National Rent-A-Car counter, and it took a while, and I wasn't, it took a while because they had mislabeled me. My name's New Breast. But sometimes whoever's putting it in the machine will put breast. And they couldn't find me, and I was like, oh no. But I said, no, I don't have this. So I was searching for the confirmation number, and that's part of self-care, is when you have to do things like that. I didn't want to get frustrated, so I didn't. And it just took a while, and I finally found the confirmation number, and it was misfiled under breast. And I had requested a Mustang convertible. Woohoo! I had requested, and here it was brand new. It just had a little over 1,000 miles, and it was a bright color, like brighter than this blue. like sky. It's a very vibrant. It was in blue. Avis Archambault, who used to always do acupuncture on me very often. And she would do healing with sound. And I just had a session at Flathead Lake from Mother Nation. So thank you, Mother Nation, for being there. Is this healing work where she did the vibration starting with my toes, and she got things unstuck. And I could feel it, because when I was coming here and I got the car, and my self-care, and I'm encouraging you to think about, when you're doing events, and that's why, we work 5 days a week and we take 2 days off. Really try to take those 2 days off, and not just fill it with space where you do self-care. So I got into the convertible, and Gene Tagabon and I had a car like that a little while back. So I didn't know, Gene was driving and stuff, and so I didn't put the top down, and plus it was warm, but I just started easing into it. And my self-care, I drove all the way, because I'm staying, part of my self-care is I didn't want to stay in a hotel. And I had called a good friend here, Diane Mitchell. Diane Mitchell and I, we'd always went to wellness conferences. I know she's coming up on 30 years of sobriety very soon here. I think it's September 17th. And so I just called her because I said, I need to pick your brain because I'm coming to your area. And I understand there's a big event, and I didn't know what the big event was, but it was the Burning Man. 80,000 people are just like flying in and camping here, and it's a big event that goes on for the next week. And so we were visiting, and she said, well, you could stay in Fernley, or maybe, and then Constance had said you could stay in Reno and drive back and forth because there's always rooms in Reno. So long story short, she said, but I have an extra bedroom because one of my eaglets has flown the coop, and she goes, you can stay with me. I go, is that okay? Because I would prefer that, because I really want to be in the home of someone who's in recovery, where there's a lot of peace, and I just know you, Diane, by what you post and who you are. I would prefer that. So I drove, and but she got held up. She was just coming from the International AA conference that was going on in Oklahoma. And so her family came and met me and opened up the door. And so when I finally got settled, I said to myself, and when you talk to yourself about self-care, I said, what do I really need to do? And I said, I need to take a nap. Because the jet lag of just being, at Flathead Lake, staying in a cabin, and then coming to this new space in Nevada, coming to this new space near California, coming to this new space, I had to bring my spirit. I'd called my spirit, and I kept calling my spirit, Buksaput Makoyo Sukoi. Buksaput Makoyo Sukoi. Buksaput Makoyo Sukoi. Buksaput Makoyo Sukoi, and that's, my second Blackfoot name. But when I call it 4 times, Audrey Weasel Traveler, Audrey Bastine, said, you ground yourself. So I was just calling my name, and so her sister had went and changed the sheets, changed all of it. It was just a perfect, you could tell the home was a home of unconditional love. It was just like, I just saw my friend, and I just love her because she has her space, all her beadwork. She's, Linda Herrera, she's like you. She had all her beads organized, and she was working on a project. And then it had the grandma's, the auntie space, comfort. And so I was staying in one of the rooms, and so I took a nap. And when I was taking a nap, I really got connected to my mom, because my mom is in this space because my brother is just him and his wife and his grandchildren are moving home, and I got connected, and I was just, you scripted doc, Yellow Flower Woman is my mom, and I was laying there, and I go, Mom, I'm turning out just like you. Mom, I'm helping people heal just like you. Mom, you ran a treatment program. Mom, you ran Intertribal Friendship House. You were the executive director of Child Resource Center. You were you did the calendar for California, all of the powwow calendar. And I was talking to Mom, and I just laid back, and I gently fell asleep. And I took a nap. I'm not quite sure, because in my off time, I try not to look at the clock or let the clock dictate what I'm doing. And I just stayed in that position, and I don't remember the dream, but I just remember getting connected to Lana Hicks, Meeks Bay, Emerald Bay, Markleyville, and the times that I had been, and we had gathering of Native Americans at Reno Sparks Colony. Oh yeah, Reno Sparks Colony is here too. And I slept. And that, when we're pacing, self-care is about pacing. So then, from there, I was alone because my friend didn't get back from the airport where she flew in for about another 3 or 4 hours. And I just had quiet time. So I was unpacking, and I didn't know her home where she smudged, but I still, in part of self-care, always claim the space where you are and put tobacco in the 4 corners. So I put tobacco in the 4 corners, and I claimed the space, and so I've been here. And I took another, I just want to share with you one of the greatest things. I was just thinking to myself, man, I just want to get in that convertible, and I want to drive to Meeks Bay, where Native Wellness Institute had always had gatherings there. And just till recently, we would all bring everyone there. Wanda Batchelor would bring all of the TANF from Sacramento. All of the families would come there. And in 2018, we had a gathering of Native Americans. Casey Nicholson and I were the facilitators, and so I just took time. I got up. I had to, look, of course, be responsible and look at my emails, take care of communication, and it was, I listened to Mike Duncan, Native Dads Network, for the last 5 years. Every Tuesday, at 6:30 a.m., shout out to Mike Duncan, shout out to Albert Titman, shout out to all of Native Dads Network, doing the Boys with Braids. They're going to be doing the Boys with Braids in the San Francisco area. I think allying with Aurora Mamea, Michelle Moz, and several of the organizers in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I'm excited because so much healing is going on now. And so as I was I woke up, I listened to Mike, and I said, ask yourself this question on self-care. I said, Theta, what do you really need to do today? And I said, I want to just get some food, and I want to go for a ride to Meeks Bay, and I want to get in the water. And I wanted to, so I just jumped in, and so I figured out how to put the top down. And so it's so funny because now everybody knows that they think did Diane get a new car? When there's a new car on the res. Anyway, they've been saying, yeah, Theta's over there. There's that Mustang, that blue convertible. So I wanted to have the top down. I wanted to get good food, so I had some roast beef, sliced roast beef. I had some pineapple. I had some bananas, and I had some hydrating drinks. And I took off, and I GPSed it and I went through Sparks, I went through Reno, and I came down. And what started to happen is I remember all the times I was with my family, all the times that we would come up to Reno, all the times that we would come to gatherings, all the times that Native Wellness Institute would go out to Meeks Bay. And as I drove there, I totally just relaxed. I just got into it, and I turned on for my happy music. Sometimes is the 60s, the gold records of the 60s. So I just left it on the whole time, and I cruised. And as Indians, all of the tourists, they charge them, I guess, $12 to get in. But I knew just how to get in there, and they looked at me and waved, and I just went in there. And then one of the young people said, "That's because of the Jay Treaty." The Jay Treaty, where Indians can go into each other's territory and Indians can help each other, and Indians, so I just cruised in, and I started part of my self-care, because when my father passed, the first place that I dreamt about him was in that Kellett mansion. And so I cruised over there, and I was in the convertible, and it said guests only. But I went out there and no one really stopped me, and I didn't invade their privacy. But I stopped, and I reached in the back, and someone had given me this really nice bag of tobacco. And I decided to get that tobacco and go out to the water and talk to the water and remember all the water ceremonies, that when we would wade into the water at Meeks Bay, we would stand there, and when the sun was coming up, and there would be songs sang from the Washoe perspective, from the Paiute perspective, from all of, there was Pomos that came up, there was Yurok that came up, there was Wiyot, there was, so I took the tobacco and I went down by the water, and I just had the most, it was just like the water, and it was different colors, it was clear, because they say that this water here is self-cleansing from the inside. And so I was thinking, it's pure water from the earth, Sakum, the earth, here this water comes up. And so I thanked it, and I just started, it was like almost like a Tom Porter Mohawk, because I was thinking of him. It was a thank you. So I just started thanking Ishtabatapio for the trees, thanking Ishtabatapio for the air, thanking Ishtabatapio for the sound. Come on in. Okay. Please, yeah. So give me a couple minutes and we'll have you sit right here. So that was, we have a guest. So yahoo! Wellness Wednesday! We have someone who's going to share their story. A very special person. So I went and took the tobacco, the pastascan, and I put it into the water, and I lost track of time because I just kept saying, thank you for this. Thank you for this experience. Thank you for this. And when you're doing a prayer of gratitude that comes into your heart, and that just that was part of my self-care time. But we have a guest. And so I'm going to have my guests come. If you want to just sit in this chair, and the frame is right here, if you would come and introduce yourself. So, woohoo, a guest. Introduce yourself.
Hello, Danse. Delina Trache, Nitsigasun. Witsegaskasio Sagaiga, Notinia. So I'm just giving an introduction of myself.
No worries.
My name is Delina. I was born in Onion Lake Cree Nation, but I live down here in Pyramid Lake, Nevada. I thought it was pretty interesting how I ran into Theta. I always watched the Wednesday Power Hour during COVID. Tried to attend as many virtual trainings as I could, if I could. But I'm kind of on my own journey here. coming into 2025, I realized I was living a real destructive life. I guess grieving and masking my grief with alcoholism and overworking myself. And coming into 2025, I didn't want to live that way anymore. I think it's because I was seeing people my age pass away through alcoholism and drug abuse and that lifestyle. And I didn't want to die, pretty much. That's what I realized. So I had to pull myself out and shake myself and say, look at yourself. Just kidding. But I really had to say that. I did.
You're
I was
the
like,
slapping medicine man.
yeah, I was like,
always slap.
for real. Honestly, like I really had to be real with myself. I was sick of my own shit, I guess, to say, you know, and being a mom, I just wanted to show up for myself and my kids. So I did. And 2025 was all about being here for myself. I think in my grief of my separation, I was alone and I didn't know how to be alone. I was with my partner for 10 years and I didn't know how to be alone. I didn't even know who I was. I think I went through like an identity crisis. Like, who is Delina? What does she like? I didn't know. So I guess coming into 2025 was just like the year of me and showing up for myself. I'm gonna be 35 next month. So that was the thing too.
You're looking good.
Yeah, that was the thing too. I was like, wow. I was feeling the effects of alcoholism in my body, waking up really tired and disgusted, and the anxiety and all that comes with being hungover. And I didn't want to live that way anymore, so I thought of, you know, what am I gonna do? So this year was really dedicated to that, and I used to love running. Prior to my separation, we ran a lot, and I stopped that. So I took myself back to the land, you know. So when I run, I'm always looking at the mountains here, and I run in the evening because that's when I like to drink. But I run now, you know. So I kind of say I'm running from my problems, in a sense, but it's like a healthier form of it, I guess. But
Most definitely.
the benefits that I'm seeing in my life is I have a lot more clarity. I trust myself and my judgment. My home is really relaxing and comforting, and my kids come home to a sober mom who's there for them. Whereas, you know, I was a great mom. I was a functioning alcoholic, but now I'm fully there, and I get to being how I was raised, right? Very ceremonial, prayerful parents who taught me a lot of life skills, and a lot of family members who did this work all their life. Like when I met Theda, I was like, made a point to tell her who my uncle was, the late Charlie Tailfeathers, and I knew the work he did here. And I knew the work he did for our family. And since I've been, you know, in the beginning, I said I'm refraining from alcohol, and I would. And when I would drink, I drink like a sailor. So it wouldn't stop till I stopped myself, right? But this last month is just fully showing up and being sober, and it's just been really good. And I feel like this year, the Creator really brought people into my life who are supporting my journey. They're sober people, right? And they're amazing people who inspire me. And there's also been people in the past who I'm like, wow, they're so amazing for being sober, because it's so hard. Like, it's probably the toughest thing I've ever had to do for myself, but it gets easier. And when we're at the lake the other day, and I was like, hey, I know that car. That's that Theta. She's here. And my mom was like, should we stop? Let's stop. And I was like, all right, I'll go say hi. And I introduced myself and told her who I was and who my family is. Because I totally think how we treat people and ourselves is a reflection of our family, who we come from, right? And that's who I come from, is those amazing men and women who live in to me, they're a true epitome of like self-wellness and healing. Since I've been sober, I've been feeling more authentic, like my true self. So when I seen Theta and I was happy to meet her, I was like, wow, that was so awesome. Like the most random way, right? And we were leaving. And I was like, my uncle, he wanted us to meet there. Like I said, the creator is bringing people into my life for a reason.
Yes.
And I was like, my uncle, the way he raised us, the things he taught us every summer, we'd be together, and what he would say was a lot of love and healing. He wanted us to live a really good life, and he would speak that to us. And we were driving away, and I was like, I feel like my uncle is like, here, this is a person I want you to know and who's gonna support you. And I asked like why she was here, and they're having this workshop and session, and I just felt really drawn to come here, and I'm thankful for the people in my life who are supporting my journey and not looking away anymore. Because a year ago today, when I'd be like, I want to quit drinking, it was so impossible. It was like, I can't do that. Like, I cannot live without alcohol. But a year now, it's so possible. Like, I don't see any other way of living. And I just want to share that I feel like there's people coming into my life right now who are meant to be there and learn from. And if you're going through like a similar situation, I just want to encourage you to keep going, and just give thanks for those people in your life who are supporting you, and finding the tools to move forward and live your life. I kind of call it like a life belt, like a tool belt.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like construction workers have a tool belt?
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
a tool belt, and you know when they start out, they only have a hammer, and maybe that's it? But we're building this life tool belt, right? So right now I have a hammer and a nail, but people give you tools to fulfill your tool belt, right? When you go to a construction labor job and they're like, here, I don't use this anymore. But it helped me. It'll probably help you, get you to where you want to go with your goals. So I kind of been building my own life tool belt. And I've been encouraging others, what is your life tool belt? What do you have on your tool belt of life?
Yes.
For me, I'm smudge every day. Running is one of my tools. You know, if I'm feeling down, I'm like, I'm gonna go run, because it helps me like with the body and the endorphins going through and how I feel after. And even if you don't have a tool belt yet, you could build one. And you don't have to have all the tools, right? Just like I said, some of us just start with a hammer, but you could build your life tool belt. And that's what we're doing today. We're learning a lot of interesting, beneficial information. So I kind of just wanted to share that, and I want to thank Theta for being here and for meeting. I think it's great. And this is just stuff we need to know for ourselves. So.
What do you think about the group out there? Like, what's the energy like, and what are the
It's
people
like, I like it. I'm happy seeing community members here.
Yeah.
You know, like people who, I guess like-minded individuals who care about the work. They care about the work not only for themselves, but the people they work with every day and the families they're serving. It's been really good, and it's nice to hear other people share why they're here. And so I think I'm gonna be done. I will be done. I'll be done in December for my bachelor's degree in psychology. So it's like, I like learning about this stuff, and we've learned about ACEs in a few of my classes. So I'm like, you know, like this is such important stuff, right? So it's just interesting to hear where people are at with their workspaces and where they want to head.
Yes.
I think this is definitely beneficial work for a lot of Native communities. And for myself, what I shared, I was like, if we can't change the world. I can't change my res, but I could go home and work on my home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's where it starts, is my home. And then now being sober, I'm like, I want to go to these places, right? Because she's been here before, and I didn't show up because I was drinking. You know, that's the honest reality. But being sober, I'm like, I want to go to those places. Like, I have the courage. I have the, you know, I don't have that daily anxiety I used to live with. But I just want to encourage you guys to think of your tool belt.
Right.
Think of your tool belt and start working on that. Just think of one tool this week, maybe the next 2 weeks. What's one tool I could add to my tool belt? That's going to help you get through those tough, challenging moments of life. And yeah, sending a lot of love.
Oh, awesome.
I wanted to come on here before I get too full from my lunch. Yeah.
Let me give you a hug.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll just continue on. If there's anyone else that wants to tell their story, we'll be on for, actually, we only got 15 minutes left. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday, Native Wellness Institute. And I was just sitting there just beaming as an auntie, just beaming, you know, young 30 years old, 40 years old. We got a real diversity of age here. But it's about Indians need to listen to other Indians, and just as, I love it, the tool belt. I was just saying, I was looking at my roll because I'm enrolled, eh? But I was loving the tool belt because, you know, right here, what do you carry? I carry my coin of 37 years sober. I carry my coin is in my tool belt, and what else? So with self-care, as we ended, and thank you so much for coming and sharing that story. We'll see you in a bit. Think about the self-care. You know, as I was cruising to Meeks Bay, I remembered when they would sing to, and they said, and it might be called Castle Rock, but across the water, there's these giant rocks, and they used to look like people to me. But I remember some of the sisters, when they would sing, they would say, that's where the little people live. That's where the water spirit people live. So I wanted to drive over there. So I started driving, and I swear, I had the most just releasing feeling. You know, it was like being in a convertible, and, you know, I had my hair tied, I had a scarf on, and I had music, my happy music on. And so I was just like, woohoo! I was just like dancing. I was like driving. I was paying attention, but I was almost like floating, because my self-care was intense. Right now, I didn't want to think about any deadlines, any pressing. I didn't want to worry. And then when I went out and I actually got to Meeks Bay, I put the tobacco in, and I said to myself, what do I really need right now? And I go, I need to get in the water. So I went and sneakily went behind the trees and took off my clothes and put on my bathing suit. I was looking around like, what's that naked lady doing? No one can see because Blackfeets were sneaky. Hey, sneaky. So I put on my bathing suit, and I had borrowed a towel from Diane's house. And so I walked down and I laid the towel out. And again, I took some, I don't know, the tobacco brings stuff. I took a big old clump. I grabbed the tobacco and I went out into the water and I went slow. I went to just, where it was waist deep, and I looked to where the sun was. I started singing Muffet Little Dog's calling song. I started in the east, and it's a song like, hey, ha, hey, yay, hey, ha, ha, hey, yay. Because I dreamt that song, and so I called it to the east. Then I went to the 4 directions, and I called. But each time when I called, like I called the spirits, I dunked down into the water all the way, and man, it just like, it was like being cleaned off, a cleansing. And I still had the tobacco, and I would release a little of the tobacco for self-care on my soft spot. And then I would go to the other direction and I would sing the calling song. And then I would go down with the tobacco again. And I did that in the 4 directions. But as people came to my mind, I started praying about people who had passed on, because we've had some who transitioned to go across the Milky Way. So I was praying for them. I was praying for those that we lost. And then I started just praying for the present. I started praying for, my current family, my current siblings. And I started praying for past loves that were I love them, but I'm no longer with them. And then I started praying for individuals, and they were just flooding into my mind. I was thinking about Ruby, Jean, Tagabon, and I was thinking about Ruby and their 3 dogs, and I was thinking about his mother in Alaska and his brother. So it just like in this self-care, I was in the water, and then I just, as I was releasing the tobacco, my face was just hanging out of the water like this. And I don't know, I floated for a long time. It's like I was just floating. And then I would look up a little, and I was away from the shore, but I was just floating, and people just started coming to my mind, and I guess I'm sharing with you the self-care. Sometimes we just have to, it's a meditative prayer, and whoever came to mind. And then if I stalled a little in the prayers, I would just say, everybody that I think of, may they have a long, healthy life. May they sleep good. May they eat good. May they laugh. May they have joy. Now, I hear a bunch of laughter in there because we're getting to that joyful part. This is like healing the healers. So as I was floating in it, I was in that water for a couple of hours, just floating around and feeling the cleansing, and I dunked down, and there was, up on the shore was families, they were eating, there was kids playing, there was people, on their their paddle boards, there was some canoes, but in my area it was just, I think there was some crawdads. They were saying there's some crawdads down there. Anyway, I want to kind of leave you with thinking, today, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. This is Native Wellness Institute. We're with one of our allies at Pyramid Lake. We just saw, and I'm so glad, little sister, because Charlie Tailfeathers was our cherished board member, and we lost him during COVID, right when COVID. So thank you, Charlie. And Charlie, I know you're up there. I know you're around and I know you brought us together. So I'm going to look after your niece and make connections and hook her. It's not that I have to heal her. There's all kinds of resources here in that toolbox. Just like I could see, and she looks like Charlie. And, you know, talking about Onion Lake and talking about, you know, all the places he used to like to, him and Nancy would go and dance. I could just see, man, I could see them, you know, Nancy's still here with us, but I could just see him dancing with all his friends. You know, I was thinking about the Tindoys from Rocky Boy. And I was thinking, you know, like even Little Shell is having their powwow this weekend in Montana. You should come on down. I think some friends are flying in on Friday and they're having their Little Shell powwow. But self-care. So mind, body, and spirit. So the message I'm going to leave you with today on Wellness Wednesday, the mind. You know, one of I learned this trick with the mind from my sister Lori, and from whenever I'm worrying or I think my thoughts are going like this, and it helps me go to sleep or get back to calm serenity, is I start counting from 20 backwards, like 20, 19, 18. And I swear I don't even get to the third round and it rewires my brain and I relax and I usually go to sleep. I usually don't even make it on the second time around, you know, 10, 9, 8. And so the mind, have your, you know, like, you know, a physical list of things, happy things that you can think of. You know, the reason why you want wellness or well-briety, or why you want, might be your cat, might be your dog, might be your grandchildren. It might be to take care of a parent. It might be, so I have some exciting news to share with you. And I was just saying, I gotta like share this because I'm bubbling with it. Those of you know that last October, I was cast in a 60 scoop movie. It's called Birthing of a Family. So just this past week while I was at Flathead Lake, I guess they were trying to find me, and Meadowlark, the production, they're flying me out. Anyway, they got hold of me and they go, the premiere. So exciting news is, woohoo! The premiere is September 7th in Toronto. And it's at the Toronto International Film Festival, and they're all Canadian. Michael Grey Eyes is in it, Alex Rice. They're three, and it's a story about a true story about a 60 scoop family that come together in their 50s and come back together and get to learn each other. And then they meet me. I'm the 70-year-old Blackfoot elder with the 80-year-old Cree husband. Russell Badger plays that character. And then I have my grandson and my granddaughter, and we start them on their spiritual journey. So I'm really excited. So, you know, you can say it in the comments or just send me a message, because this is what the self-care and my authentic self, I thought, I don't want to dress like in an evening gown. Ugh, that is so white, nappy-yaki. That is so, I mean, anyway, that's me. That's okay for some of you that want to, you know, be like, be like that. Maybe I'll get Botox. I'll have these big old lips, and I'll have eyelashes that birds could land on. Anyway, that's my exciting news. So tell me, you know, and I was just thinking, no, I'm gonna dress Indian, and I've been praying. I think I'm gonna wear my Kami Poismanix. I'm gonna wear my stand-up headdress. And I was just thinking, my niece Lily arranged that transfer and got her stand up to. We thought we were getting it in time for the Oscars, but she has it anyway. She got it. She wore it when she got her honorary PhD from the University of Montana. So send me a message and send me prayers, because I'm just going there because it's a healing movie. I'm actually acting in a healing movie about the 60 scoop across Montana. And I'll be flying from Calgary to Toronto early September, and I'll be going to the film festival. So that's my good news. So Badass Auntie, woohoo! And my character is named Alma. I'll be Alma in the movie. So with that, we leave you with a positive message. You know, just welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And so we'll be seeing you next Wednesday. Kitakito Matsuno.